In the start of the film, we are shown a lady and a man out on the town by the pool. In light of their discussion, we discover that they are the two lifeguards at the recreation area, and their names are Cindy and Brad. After their movements end, rather than returning home they wait in the vicinity to hang out and comfortable up on top of the waterslide. Not long later, a figure conveying a blade comes dependent upon them and severely murder the two. In a little while, the 2018 graduating class of Valley Slopes Secondary School are wanting to hold their graduation occasion. They plan for the occasion to happen at a water park called Wet Valley. The thought was spotted by Alice, a Valley Slopes Secondary School graduated class who was likewise the person who concocted the whole occasion. Similar as each and every other graduation occasion, every one of the seniors are amped up for getting to know one another. Not just that they'd get to swim and ride water slides, they likewise plan to remain at the water park for 3 days. It is now that we get acquainted with our hero Josh. He and his companions Chad and Finn began a school band called The Edges, and they would perform at some point during the occasion. Later on, an elderly person named Conrad comes dependent upon them. He lets them know that he functions as both overseer and support specialist at the water park. Regardless of having worked there for a very long time, he is still up and kicking. A few hours after the fact, Josh, who are amidst rehearsing with his companions, stumble over Kim, who obviously is Josh's ex, who currently functions as a lifeguard. The casual banter divided among Josh and Kim seemed to deliver Kim's ongoing sweetheart Tommy envious. Indeed, looking at this logically, it essentially checks out why he would feel as such given the manner in which his better half came at her ex. In the following scene, we get acquainted with Michael, who gets a call from his child, Josh the hero. During the call, Josh purposely requests that his father come to the water park to watch him perform. We then get acquainted with one individual in control at the recreation area, Priscilla. She is 1992 alumni of Valley Slopes Secondary School. Finn says that he heard gossip coursed among the understudies about Priscilla probably picking one alumnus to engage in sexual relations with every year. The remainder of the class are presently partaking in the water park's fundamental fascination, that is a bunch of extremely high and long waterslide burrows. Everything is great up to this point and nothing shows up strange, basically until a few bratty youngsters choose to go down the slide with a jug of alcohol close by. The episode prompts Paul, the proprietor of Wet Valley, to make a move, and Conrad the guardian to clean the pool from broken glass and blood. In the early evening, Kim and Tommy end up going over Josh, who are spending time with Chad and Finn. Josh's companions gather Tommy to request that he search for a rope expansion. While Tommy gets going setting up the speaker and mouthpiece links, Josh picks to take advantage of his chance to be distant from everyone else with Kim in another space. Alone and sneaking despite Tommy's good faith, Kim and Josh fire attaching. In the interim, Josh's father is eating with Priscilla. Before all else, they are shown bantering, however we the crowd can't hear what they're talking about from the outset. In light of their discussion, we discover that Priscilla is the spouse of Paul, the proprietor of Wet Valley, while Michael, also known as Josh's father, is known as a rich man nearby. During the supper, Michael voices that Paul doesn't realize that he has something great sitting directly before him. Some time elapses, and presently Josh and Kim are approaching their companions as it is nearly time for his band to perform. A few schoolmates are watching them for a far distance, and one of them says that something will happen to them. The seniors are presently partaking in an exhibition by The Edges, who are performing 80s hits. Kim, who is watching, professes dislike Josh's singing and censures the uproarious commotions their instruments make. Josh's father and Priscilla go to watch Josh perform. Up until this point, Tommy is as yet uninformed about the way that his better half undermined him. However, at that point, it just so happens, one of the seniors had recorded Josh and Kim connecting and has now shares the video in the seniors' gathering visit. Tommy sees the video and gets naturally irate. He approaches the stage and beats Josh before everybody. Things raise considerably further when Priscilla finds her better half cheating with Alice, the young lady in the start of the film. Later on, Michael approaches his child, Josh, and attempts to quiet him down. He then, at that point, gets some information about his plan to buy the water park. Unbeknownst to them, Alice is listening in and she heard everything. She continues to track down Paul and censures him for haggling to sell the water park. Alice, who is Paul's paramour, is unreliable as she feels that Paul could leave her subsequent to getting the cash he procures from the exchange. The alcoholic Paul guarantees her that it is basically impossible that he would sell the water park as it is his main type of revenue. A few hours later, every one of the seniors are recharging for the evening, and nobody is making the rounds, with the exception of one individual who breaks into one of the water slides, to introduce a couple of huge metal sharp edges, organized in an X shape inside. Surprisingly more dreadful, on the following day Michael, who is strolling around studying the region, is evidently being trailed by a strange figure. Michael has Chance in the leg and is then taken to the shed. For reasons unknown, the shed likewise contains Cindy and Brad's dead bodies, also known as the two lifeguards from the very start of the film. In the following scene, we discover that Tommy has been terminated from his work and Kim just unloaded him. Soon after, Conrad comes dependent upon him, and lets him know that Kim no longer focuses on him. Nonetheless, Tommy actually holds out trust since he adores her. After noon, Conrad the waterpark guardian runs the water that goes down the water slides. As of now nobody knows about the metal sharp edges inside one of the slides. In the meantime Priscilla, who likewise works there, selects to invest her energy connecting with Finn as opposed to taking care of her business. In the early evening, every one of the seniors are eager to partake in a pleasant contest with a $500 prize. They would be parted into groups and will go after the quickest to slide down the water slides. Normally Josh collaborates with Chad and Finn. Anyway, Finn is still mysteriously gone. They rather see Tommy, who unexpectedly comes dependent upon them in spite of having been terminated from his work. Tommy lets them know that he comes not as a representative but rather as a guest now, and he is likewise participating in the opposition. The other seniors don't appear to be excessively enamored with the thought and won't allow him to join. Focusing on Finn's still no place, Josh and Chad choose to request that Kim collaborate with them. Not long later, Tommy, who had nothing preferred to do over wait around, sees something awry. He observes a path of water spilling out of one of the slides. He additionally finds remainders of the water slide's material importance. Somebody has punched holes at the slide. While every one of the seniors are arranging to get to the highest point of the slides, Conrad is chilling by the pool, trusting that the opposition will begin. While this is going on, Tommy, who is currently persuades that one of the slides has been messed with, starts attempting to deter everybody from going down the slides. Sadly, the seniors get over him as they as of now consider him a killjoy for what he did a few evenings ago. In only minutes, the opposition is going to start by the occasion coordinators and the pool guardians. To guarantee everything would work out positively, Priscilla speaks with Conrad, who is watching underneath. Obviously, nor know about the sharp edges introduced inside one of the slides. Tommy is persevering. He actually attempts to illuminate Paul and Priscilla that everybody's at serious risk. Sadly, no one trusts him, and the opposition begins. One of the irritated seniors even pushed Tommy down the slide. Simultaneously, three young ladies are going down a similar slide, and true to form, they are in a flash damaged by the cutting edges. Beneath, the water emerging from slide number 3 has become red, trailed by ravaged appendages sliding down. The other guests scream with sickening apprehension, while Conrad hyperextends his lower leg while he surges down his lifeguard seat. In the interim, Tommy, who was pushed down the slide before, has now nearly arrived at the metal sharp edges. He must choose the option to cross his fingers and trust no other person slides down after him. Simultaneously, Conrad promptly advises Priscilla to stop the opposition. Also, just so happens their walkie-talkies are not working as expected. Thus, Priscilla remains willfully ignorant of the mayhem beneath and on second thought welcomes Paul to slide down. Paul takes the bound slide number 3. Josh now surges higher up and requests that everybody quit going down the slides. Paul, who is amidst going down the slide, continues to attempt to hold back from sliding down further. In the interim, the two senior young ladies and Tommy, who are now packed down the sharp edges, get driven down further and kick the bucket. No one unquestionably expects that this pointless fooling around would turn this horrendous. In the midst of the frenzy, Conrad requests that Chad and Kim shut down the water siphons in the shed. Be that as it may, after entering the shed they coincidentally find the dead collections of Josh's dad Michael alongside the 2 lifeguards. Back to the slides, Paul can never again hang on because of the fast surge of water. He slides down and succumbs to the terrible edges too. Following the slaughter, Josh is educated by a legal counselor that his dad has left him truly a legacy. In any case, one thing his dad has not yet concluded is the acquisition of the Wet Valley Water Park, which he had wanted to destroy to account for a $20 million shopping complex. Since Paul the proprietor kicked the bucket in the occurrence too, that makes Priscilla the sole beneficiary of the cash produced using the exchange. The film closes with Priscilla grinning, followed with her recollections showing her was killed at this park quite a while back, with nobody was even tried to help him. She saw the whole thing when she was as yet a young lady, and we can reason that the guilty party behind all the 2018 misfortune is Priscilla.